I can't tell you the amount of times that I've tried to sit down and film a video to talk about how I need jaw surgery. Jaw surgery. My journey to jaw surgery. Double jaw surgery. My perfectionism continues to rule my life in ways that I would prefer it not. So I'm going to sit here, film something, whatever it is going on the internet, because I needed something like this and I want to make sure it's there for the next person. Jaw surgery isn't a new concept for me. It has been around in my life since I was in high school and I had first gotten braces. When I got my braces off, my orthodontist gave me the option to one, get my braces off, or two, get jaw surgery. And I said, let's get my braces off. And the orthodontist at the time told me that I could probably experience some pains and some issues later on down the road if I didn't get the surgery, but it wasn't going to be a huge detriment to my life. Here we are, 31. I'm literally a month out from turning 32. And it's very likely that I will have jaw surgery within the next 6 months. So I want to make this video to talk about how I got here. So I was born in 1994, and before I turned 3 years old, I had to get my tubes done in my ears. Progressing through elementary school, I remember I was always having earaches, terrible pain in my ears. We get to middle school, and I just remember having a ton of sinus issues. So on my 13th birthday, I remember my tonsils were so swollen that I couldn't even swallow my own spit. Like it was so difficult to breathe, to swallow. I was constantly getting ear infections, strep throat, anything that could be related to the sinuses I was getting at that time. And so that led to my first surgery. I got my tonsils and adenoids taken out and I got tubes placed in my ears again at that time. I think this is another indicator something else could be wrong. A couple years after I got my tonsils and adenoids out, I had to get a tympanoplasty in my left ear because there was a hole in my eardrum. I had continued to get ear infections and had busted a hole in my eardrum. Around this time, I'm also getting braces. I think I was probably in 8th grade, or maybe I just finished 8th grade when I got braces. I I didn't have terrible teeth. My teeth were just at a little bit of a point at the front. I didn't have like severe crowding. I think my bottom teeth down here were kind of crowded. Looking back, my teeth weren't as bad as some other kids that I have known over the years. We got me in braces. Aesthetically, they look great. My teeth are straight. I get the option to get my jaw surgery done or get my braces off. Obviously, as like a 17-year-old, I chose to get my braces off. And around the same time, I've also got a septoplasty from my ENT because of my sinus issues. I'm constantly inflamed. My nose is always stuffy. That's the next step in the process is a septoplasty. So at this point, I'm graduating high school, pretty like not really paying attention to what's going on in my sinus cavity, my jaw. Everything feels pretty normal for me. When I'm in college, I do experience some like congestion and difficulty breathing. So I go to an allergist, but the allergist is basically like you're allergic to the air. You should never work outside, which is wild given what I was on track to do. But we continue on. We don't really do anything with the sinus issues at that point. We get to about 2017 and I start to see an ENT and an allergist again. And they're like, you shouldn't be working with animals. You're really allergic to their dander. And I get diagnosed with asthma at that time. I'm like a poor zookeeper, so I don't really have any money to address any of this, like any of these concerns, and I'm not going to stop working at the zoo. And then in 2020, I was no longer working at the zoo, so I started seeing an allergist and began allergy shots, and that significantly improved my sinus issues, but I was still snoring lightly at nighttime. I was starting to experience a lot of pain in my jaw. I was having like all in these muscles here, I was having pain, and usually it would start to go up and form migraines. And so I knew I was at the point where I really needed to like buckle down and figure this out. So I went to my dentist and I was talking to him, and he said that I had, for one, I had this huge mucosal cyst in my sinus cavity, which is probably part of why I can't breathe through my nose as well. He wouldn't put me in Invisalign, that my mouth is really small, and it looks like this was a job for an orthodontist and that I might need jaw surgery. Cool, heard that before. So I go to see the orthodontist and he agrees, but he says that it looks like I have TMJ. And so, in order for me to go into braces, he wanted to make sure that my temporal mandibular joints were not actively deteriorating because braces or orthodontics would negatively affect that. So then I see a TMJ specialist who's also a jaw surgeon. And this jaw surgeon is too old to do jaw surgery, but he creates this oral appliance for me that I wear for 6 months, and it helps to prevent me from clenching at nighttime, and it helps me ensure that I'm like holding my jaw in the correct place. It's not the same as like those mouth guards that you buy from the store. This is a piece of acrylic that is custom fit to your teeth so that you can stop clenching, stop grinding, etc. I wear that for 6 months. He has referred me to a myofunctional therapist and a physical therapist, and both of them agree that I need jaw surgery. The myofunctional therapist said it's even possible that I might have a slight tongue tie, but I'm so far out from jaw surgery that she can't really do anything to assist at that time. So I continue to see the physical therapist, and that really helps. I go back to my TMJ specialist. He says that my TMJ isn't active, so I can begin orthodontics. At this time, I have scheduled to see a jaw surgeon local to me, and I go to see them. And honestly, he really scared me because he was like, "Yeah, insurance is going to cover it. It's like $40,000. I'm going to wire your jaw shut." Um, Yada yada. He like made me watch his videos that were really freaky, and I like left crying, and I was in a panic. And so after that, I really for like 6 months just did not. I did not play around with the jaw surgery. I was like, no, I'm not really going to deal with this right now. But eventually, my pain was just so bad. I was like, I have to go and schedule an appointment with another jaw surgeon. Like, let me go consult with another jaw surgeon. So I went to a well-known jaw surgeon in Houston, and I consulted with them, and I felt a lot better about visiting with that jaw surgeon. It's just that the financial aspect was way out of my budget. There was like absolutely no way that I would ever afford it. But in my head, I was like, I'm gonna have to figure this out. He recommended an orthodontist that I went to that day, and he basically put me in Invisalign. And so during that period, I've seen two other jaw surgeons. So I saw a jaw surgeon that teaches at a local dental school, and I really liked that jaw surgeon. And it was very likely that jaw surgery would have been covered under the insurance that I had. I was really excited to work with him. But my orthodontist was more hesitant because they had never worked with that jaw surgeon before, and they weren't local to where they are. He had asked me to just visit with one more jaw surgeon that he works with in Houston. And so I went to see that jaw surgeon in like November of 2025. And I really like him. I mean, I have some hesitancies, but that's because this is jaw surgery. It's my face. It's something I use every single day. And it's just like an overall very scary experience for me. I don't think I will ever go into it 100% confident with anyone. I decided like this man is affordable. He's done it plenty of times. He has lots of experience. I like his personality. I like his office staff. Like I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go with this jaw surgeon. And so he took molds of my teeth. So this would be my bottom jaw and where my teeth are. And so he would make this cut behind the molars, and then he would bring the lower jaw forward, and then my top jaw, they'll make 3 cuts, and they will move my upper jaw forward and out. And so he wanted to do a practice to see, am I ready for jaw surgery, or does the orthodontist need to make more movements so that I can be ready for jaw surgery? I left that appointment in November 2025 thinking that I was ready for jaw surgery and that I would have it within the next 6 months. On January 5th, I went back to my orthodontist and I went back to my jaw surgeon. And my orthodontist said, do not continue any more of your Invisalign trays. He told me we would need to put me into braces the day before surgery. I had an appointment to see the jaw surgeon later that day for a reconsult. And so I met with him again. I expressed all of my concerns, every fear that I had. I asked tons of questions. He explained everything to me. There's a point I get to in which I'm like, okay, I feel like I've asked enough questions. Like, I'm never going to not have questions about what needs to be done and what the process is or how I can handle it. I was happy enough to be like, yeah, I mean, my goal is to not back out of the jaw surgery. So we're going to schedule this together. And so he called my orthodontist later that day, and he asked him to put me into braces as soon as possible so that we could put more room between my canine and the bicuspid. So I'm going to get put into braces in 2 weeks, and they're going to start moving my teeth and prepping me for jaw surgery. What I really wish that there had been when I first started this process when I was in high school was more information on jaw surgery. Obviously, the internet wasn't as robust of a place as it is now. There are definitely more people who talk about their experience with jaw surgery now, but I feel like they still don't go into as much detail as I would prefer. So my intention is to make a couple more videos related to my jaw surgery and bringing you through on the process as I recover, because it is so scary. I want more people to feel comfortable about this kind of surgery. Yeah, I don't know. I want to feel more comfortable about this surgery. So talking about it out loud to people that aren't in my immediate circle, because let me tell you, I will literally talk to anybody who asks me about jaw surgery. I would say most people are probably tired of hearing me talk about it. So what I plan to talk about next is my fears regarding jaw surgery. I can also talk a little bit more about my symptoms if anybody has any questions, or how I decided on a jaw surgeon, all of the questions that I've asked them, the different things that I've learned along the way, and then obviously the process as I go through jaw surgery. If anybody has questions about Invisalign or braces, because this will be the second time, Mowgli, you're so hairy. This will be my second time in metal braces, and I am turning 32. So being an adult with braces might be interesting. Um, but it kind of just is what it is. Like, this year, I don't want to say is a wash year for me, but I'm really focused on getting this done so that I can move past it and like get on with my life. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, this isn't going to be the same face that I come back with, and that's scary and exciting all at the same time. Bye.